Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. It is officially Thursday now that it's after midnight. Hope you all had a nice Wednesday night. I did. I don't know if you guys watched any of the NBA tonight. I had Bucks minus 5.5. You want to talk about a lucky cover. So the Pistons are winning basically the entire game. Like if you watch the game, the whole game, it's like, okay, I'm on the wrong side of this. The Pistons were playing great defense, and the Pistons were the right side the entire game. Fourth quarter, the Bucks are able to grind back. They tie the game. Pistons have the ball in the final possession. Dude gets fouled with 1 second left on the clock. Misses both free throws. So it goes to overtime, and then the Bucks smoked them in overtime, and I covered. What a lucky cover. So, yeah, I went 2-1 in the NBA. Want to hear something depressing? Well, I suppose this isn't depressing.
You looked at my NCAA record?
Toast is going through it, man. But no, college football, I didn't place a single bet. Didn't post a single bet tonight. I swept the board. But I didn't. So I made $0, posted 0 bets on the website. But the YouTube show, I'm pretty sure I got every single one right. So I should have bet some. But anyway, this will be a quick one. We're just talking 2 college basketball games. Friday's a pretty cool slate, by the way. So tomorrow night's show will be a good one. Tonight we just got 2 games. First one's Grand Canyon on the road in Tempe. They play in Tempe as well.
This is neutral.
Neutral?
Yeah, it's on a neutral.
Okay. Grand Canyon.
I'm pretty sure. But I think it's in Phoenix. Am I way wrong?
Is Tempe anywhere close to Phoenix?
Yes. I mean, kind of, yeah.
They're both pretty close to Phoenix.
Oh, you're right.
15 minutes. I mean, it just depends on where you're at, but it's like 15 minutes or whatever.
Grand Canyon laying 5.5. Is Arizona State that trash?
Opened at 2.5 to some spots, now up to 5.5. Andy loves himself some Grand Canyon.
Are you taking this?
I like the Sun Devils here, man.
Thank you. You're fucked because I do too.
I'm curious what I'm missing. I understand why Grand Canyon's favored, but I don't know why the lines move so much. I like this Grand Canyon team, but Arizona State's come out of. I mean, they got trashed in their exhibition game, and everybody was very down on them. They've come out and played pretty damn well. I mean, they gave Gonzaga a really good game on Sunday night, and then obviously they opened with
in Spokane in the kennel too. That's one thing that I want. I just wanted to say that, interrupt you to say that, because, like, for instance, like if they wouldn't look good against Baylor and stuff, that's not in the kennel. So anytime that you're playing Gonzaga and you're not playing in the kennel, and you do play in the kennel and you look good, you get extra points, at least as far as I'm concerned, because it's a completely different atmosphere.
In the kennel, that's what they call the home floor, the kennel.
Yeah. Shut up.
Jesus Christ.
Andy, go ahead.
Yeah. And they opened with Idaho State, who's a whatever, but Santa Clara is a good basketball team, and they beat them by 7. They were underdogs in that game too. So they've consistently played pretty well as dogs for back-to-back games now, and especially that Gonzaga one. They were 20-point underdogs. They lost by 8, but it was much closer than that.
Yeah, they could have won that game really easily.
Yeah, they easily could have won that. So they've come out and played really well to start the season. And I'm not saying Grand Canyon hasn't. Grand Canyon played Cal State.
They haven't, Andy. They won by 2 against Western Kentucky, and they could have lost to Cal State Fullerton. They've looked like dog shit.
I was gonna mention the Western Kentucky game. People will look at that game and yes, they won it and it was close. But Western Kentucky's not necessarily the same team they were last year. They lost their coach, lost a lot of their guys. They're a decent team, but that's a Western Kentucky team that lost pretty comfortably to Wichita State to start the season. So that's not a very good team. So Grand Canyon hasn't come out and looked as good as I thought they would. And Arizona State's been the complete opposite of the way they looked in their exhibition. So I don't know. I understand why Grand Canyon's favored, and I probably think they win the game by maybe a possession. But the fact that this just keeps moving is very odd to me, because I don't think that Grand Canyon's this much better than them.
What would this line have been beginning of the season? Because Grand Canyon's 0-2 against the number. You said they haven't performed well. Is it just because of what they did last year in March that there's just a lot of hype surrounding this team?
Oh, there's a lot of talent there. They have a very
but I would imagine
they're by far the best team in the WAC. There's no question about that.
Yeah, but Arizona State's the Big 12.
Yeah,
Arizona State's got a lot
dead last in the Big 12.
Are they?
I'm confused about.
Yeah.
too. They've got a couple of stars, I think now.
Not to mention, like Grand Canyon has some dudes. Tyron Grant Foster, who's a 6'7" senior, reigning WAC Player of the Year, is an absolute animal. I mean, they have some very, very good players. My thing with Grand Canyon, I mean, Ray Harrison is very, very good. I think he was like a first team all WAC selection this year. I mean, obviously they were very, very good last year. We don't have to go into that. Part of me just kind of wonders how high can Grand Canyon as a team go? They looked again, going back to last year, they were very good. They got a freshman in here that's Styles Phillips kids, or Styles Phipps, however you say his last name. That's supposed to be a 3-point shooter. I don't really know if he can really guard that well. We can go through these teams and whatever, but the fact for me, which my opinion doesn't really mean anything at this point. Like, I just don't understand how you're getting 5.5 points with an Arizona State team that's played competitive basketball against better teams, and by far better teams. Gonzaga, obviously, 3rd in KenPom. Santa Clara, number 88 in KenPom. Idaho State, 257 in KenPom. You couple that with Grand Canyon, who, like we talked about, looked really shaky against Cal State Fullerton. They're 286 in KenPom. They should have lost to Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's 131, but Arizona State's 67. And not that the KenPom rankings are end all be all, but it gives you an idea of how these teams are, or at least how they're perceived in the marketplace. KenPom has this game at 1, and it's now rated at 5, 5.5, 6 at some spots. At the way that this is going, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 6, 6.5 tomorrow. If it gets to 6, I don't know how I don't play Arizona State. The only thing that's honestly holding me off, and Kyle's about to do a fucking victory lap, is the fact that we felt the same way about California today.
We did.
Tried to tell you.
And then I woke up this morning, and you see it on Twitter. I saw so many California, all the Twitter, I was like, I posted, I said, we're done. I told Helms, it's over. Kyle's the best. We're not worthy.
Hill,
I tried to tell you guys. Electricity through the athletic department was
Let me tell you something. If you take the opposite side of me, you're probably going to win. So I don't know how long of a victory lap you're going to take, but enjoy it.
Well,
all seriousness though, Arizona State has a pretty significant, I wouldn't say significant, but they have they can match up with them height wise. And that's one thing that Grand Canyon can really get up on people as far as their length is concerned. They're also, Grand Canyon's very experienced, but Arizona State also has a whole bunch of guys that are seniors that have all played. I mean, they all played in mid-majors, but again, that's what Grand Canyon is. I mean, that Mason kid from Missouri State, that Freeman kid from Milwaukee, that Bashir Jayed kid from Ball State. I mean, all those guys are shooting 30% or 35% or more from deep. So again, the problem that usually was with Arizona State is that Bobby Hurley tends to recruit talent instead of fit. That's usually what you hear around him. So sometimes it looks good, sometimes it's not. The question is, can Grand Canyon deal with the ball handling and the pick and roll? Because that's all Bobby Hurley does. He's like top 30 in the country every year is pick and roll frequency. So if they can get the pick and roll going, I mean, again, I just don't understand how this is 6 and the total. What's the total on this game? I don't even know.
149.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, all right. So I put up Grand Canyon for me too. Sounds good. Let's move on to the second game. There's only 2 worth talking about. This one is LSU Kansas State. Kansas State laying 7.5. Is LSU basketball not good?
They're terrible right now. They're
worse
than the SEC.
Correct me if I'm wrong. LSU was bad last year, but down the stretch in February, didn't they win a few big games for us?
Yeah, they're a team that can play tough, especially if they're at home. But that's usually an SEC play. They're a tough team to beat at home in SEC play. But granted, everybody's tough to beat at home in SEC play. But
except Georgia.
Yeah. Oh shit! I kind of set myself up for that one. But,
yeah. If he didn't say it, I would have.
Yeah.
So
I don't like the situation for them here. This is I expect
LSU, right?
to play really, really well in this game. I'm curious what you think, but
you think that Kansas State's going to play really well?
I think they're going to beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, so do I.
That scares me that, again, we feel really comfortable about this one.
So I actually just bet this before we went live. I did Kansas State in Jacksonville moneyline parlay. Jacksonville's like a 6.5 point favorite, just for you guys to know. But as far as this game's concerned, I think this is kind of like a get right spot for Kansas State. I say that try to lightly, but at the same time, I know they lost a lot with Perry and Kaluma and Carter and whatever, but I mean, what they did in the transfer portal was a lot. I mean, they spent $2 million on Coleman Hawkins. They got that Owansu kid, or however you say his last name, from Kentucky. That should be good. Here's the thing, that the kicker for me is that what did we know about Kansas State last year? Their D didn't show up, but they usually, as far as Jerome Tang is concerned, they should be able to play defense. He's proven that in Baylor as an assistant coach in year one at Kansas State. And the issue that they had last year was their guards play, and their guards kept on turning the ball over, 345th in turnover percentage, or turnover rate, whatever you want to call it, as far as last year. I think that changes a lot this year with Doug McDaniel coming over from Michigan, who really never turns the ball over. That Housen kid from Villanova is pretty good, and he can handle the ball as well. I just don't know what to expect from LSU. This is going to be their first road game. They haven't looked fantastic in their first two games. I mean, they had a big win against Louisiana Monroe, who's number 328 in KenPom. Awesome. Their game against Alabama State, I mean, yes, they won by 13 or what have you, but they won by that game was extremely close coming down to the wire. They ended up having the last, I think 10 or 15 minutes of the game, or 10 or 12 minutes of the game, they went on a nice big 15-point run, and they won that game 74-61, but that wasn't impressive. And if they would have had a bad couple minutes, and Alabama State made a couple shots, that game could have been a completely different story. So now they're going to have to go, on the road to, what do they call it? The Octagon of Doom. Is that what they call it, Andy, up there?
I think that's what it's called.
I don't really know if that really plays this year when they don't have the star guards like they did have. But maybe if you're wanting like a Cam Carter revenge game, I don't really know.
I was about to say that. This is another.
But besides that, I don't really know how you get to LSU, or at least feel comfortable. I think this line tells us the story. But yeah.
Kansas State 0-2 against the number, laying 7.5 though. Andy?
Yeah, that's why I did them.
Are you biased again to going to take the SEC team?
I don't expect that much from LSU this year, and I want to say that they've had a little bit of a fluky 2-0. I don't know if he mentioned the 3-point shooting for the other teams. I mean, Alabama shot 5% from 3. Louisiana Monroe shot 21% from 3. I'm not a genius, but I'm gonna assume Kansas State's gonna shoot better than that.
Maybe they're playing stingy.
Did you see what Alabama State shot?
Yeah, 5%.
5?
1 for 20. 1 for 20.
1 for 20. They made 1 3. That's
1 for 20.
So that's stingy perimeter defense.
You say it's defense.
You can say that, sure. I would also say that there's regression coming in a different way as well, as far as that. But we'll see.
They've also a little bit of offensive for them, a little regression. They have a guy shooting 83% from the field. They have one guy shooting 72%, another guy shooting 81%. Like those things aren't going to stick. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen in this game, but like it gives me a pretty good idea against a Jerome Tang defense that you're going to regress pretty heavily. And also his teams usually make shots. So especially at home. So yeah. It's a little scary that it feels so low. The line feels so low. It's like this LSU team is one of the worst.
What do you mean feels so low? It's 7.5.
Dude, that feels low. This is one of the worst teams in the SEC.
Yeah, LSU sucks.
They are
bad.
Kansas State isn't any good basketball-wise, are they?
You're right. They're offensively, they've been turning the ball over and whatnot. But I also feel like this is like, if you look at their schedule, and we're kind of getting into the weeds here, but their first 2 games were against nobodies. They have this big game against LSU, and then they have 3 more cupcakes after that. Like, you got to think this is probably one of the games that they're really ready for, and Jerome Tang is going to lay out everything that he has here, because after those 3 they get St. John's, Drake, TCU, Houston. I mean, obviously they started going into their schedule, but my point is that this is, as far as their first couple 3 weeks, a month into the season, this is by far their biggest game at home, coming off of a game against Cleveland State. And Cleveland State isn't terrible. They're I wouldn't say a perennial powerhouse, but at the same time, Cleveland State in the Horizon League is always respected. So the fact that they played them tough here, and keep in mind, Cleveland State played the same Kansas State team pretty close. I mean, they lost by 13, Andy, or something like that. I mean, so it wasn't crazy. So I just think that the Kansas State side is just way. I think they should win by 10 plus, no question.
Wow. All right. Well, I won't say LSU then.
Well, you might as well. I bet you it wins.
You might as well throw it out there. You were
You might as well throw it out there.
Yeah, but LSU doesn't have the same energy that Vanderbilt has.
They have the opposite energy probably with Brian Kelly.
All right, so the community voted for LSU, but I mean only 23 people voted. It's the middle of the night, so let's see what the community top bet is, and then let's call it. We got they like Arizona State plus 5.5 or LSU plus 7.5. Community top bet.
I gotta say, Friday is probably obviously the best slate of the week, but tomorrow there's literally after these two games there's nothing. I got Wichita State
So bad.
Wichita State minus 7.5, and that's it.
Well, tomorrow night we'll set up more games. We'll because Friday's a kind of a loaded day. There's 4 college football games. There's a big NBA slate. So I don't know how much college basketball we can squeeze into the regular show. Maybe only like 3 or 4. Maybe pick like 4 or 5 games for the night show, 4 or 5 games for the day show, something like that.
I mean, even if for the night show, if we did Bama, Purdue, Arizona, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Marquette, Maryland, I mean, Florida State, you cut those 5 off right there.
That's a cool ass 5 right there.
Yeah.
All right, and from the influx of 9 votes that we got on this community top bet, the winner by proxy, Arizona State. So the community top bet is Arizona State. Thanks everyone for watching.
I just want to say, if you're on the show right now voting, you have my respect.
Yeah, with Tinker's in the chat. Tinker's out here typing in all caps.
He doesn't even know what caps lock is. Leave him alone.
So people asking about Eagles Commanders video just got done rendering it. I'm uploading it right now. So go take a piss. It'll be up in 3 minutes. Actually, it takes a few minutes to process on YouTube. So give it like 7 minutes and it'll be up.
I hope you bet the Eagles.
Eagles team total over.
He did.
I lean Eagles minus 3.5 too. I wish I got a 3. But yeah, Eagles team total over. But all right.